episode of the Vegan Squad Pod. Today we got somebody very interesting that's done some things I think I've never seen before in the world of veganism and fitness and activism. So we got Sergeant Vegan. That's his handle, but he goes also by his regular name, Bill Muir. Is that how I
Muir.
spell it? Muir. Yeah. So I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person, and we've known each other, I think, for several years online.
Yes, sir.
Jordan is out sick today, so our thoughts are with you, Jordan. Thank you for taking care of you. But I am joined with Alex, aka your vegan mentor one, here on the side. Alex, you want to say hello?
What's up, y'all? I'm excited. Bill, we met once, but I don't know much about you, so I'm excited to learn more about you and yeah, just talk. It's gonna be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So what we'll do today for everybody, we'll dive into Bill's backstory, learn a bit about him, why he became vegan, what he's done with it. Spoiler alert, he actually served in the armed forces as a vegan. So I think there's a lot to unpack there. I think for a lot of people, I think that is just incredible. No excuses. And we're going to dive deeper into activism because Alex and I and Jordan decided that we wanted to use the Vegan Squad Pod to connect with activists around the world that have had a significant impact and who have no doubt learned on their journey. And over the next 50 to 100 episodes, we will learn a lot, and then we can compile all that together and share it with everyone. So really excited to have you here, Bill. And where, I know you're not based out of Florida like where we are. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Los Angeles, California. Originally from Philadelphia, but now here in LA.
Oh,
Hey.
Alex, you spent some time up in Philly.
Yeah, I was born and raised partially in Los Angeles and partially in Philly, so we're like
Well, where in Philadelphia?
Ben Salem, like Bucks County, a little bit outside of Philly,
So,
but
were you raised there?
yeah.
So, not to get off on a big tangent, but I was raised in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania, but I don't have a strong Delco accent. Have you noticed that you have a Delco accent?
I don't think so. My family is Ukrainian, and my first language was actually Russian. So I didn't learn English till I was 6. So I feel like I'd never picked up on an area's language wherever I lived because I just didn't speak the language till I was 6. But yeah, I don't know if I've noticed the Delco accent just in general, to be
There's a
honest.
bunch of little things like one of my sisters still lives there, and we'll say wooder, Wooder, for the
Okay,
thing
yeah.
you drink, also known as agua. And that's, I had a patient who's like, yeah, I need a cup of water. And I was like, oh, you're from Delco.
That's how you know. Sure, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's always funny or cool to hear different verbiages and stuff from different areas. Like I was in Pittsburgh for a long time, and when they say clean up a room, they say red up a room, and super random. But yeah,
Or Hoover instead of vacuum.
yes, yeah, yeah. No, it's always fun. But cool. I'm happy that we relate. I wonder if anyone else in the audience relates.
Cool. Well, actually, getting back to, we'll go off on probably many tangents. That's how this
Oh yeah.
rolls. But to bring it back to why you're here, let's talk about you, Bill. What was your vegan journey? What helped you wake up? We all had a different one.
So mine was completely by accident. To set the stage of starting, I guess, first going vegetarian. The year was 1992, and I would have been a freshman in college, 18 years old. My mom asked me what I was going to give up for Lent, and as a snarky teenager, I was like, "What can I tell this lady that would I guess annoy her? I guess as a jerky teen." And I was like, "I'm going to go vegetarian." This was pre-internet and pre-blue zones and all that. And at, besides the fact that it was, as it is still now for some reason, considered a hippie thing, it was also considered extremely unhealthy. So people were like, "Whoa, how are you going to survive?" Just and Lent is only, was it 60 days? They're like, "How are you going to not, eat meat for 60 days?" Almost like meat is oxygen. But as you could guess, I lived through that harrowing experience being vegetarian for 60 days. And so people are like, well, somehow you didn't die. Like I had just like lived on top of Everest for 60 days. And they're like, well, you didn't die. You're going to eat meat now, right? And I was like, well, I mean, why would I change? Then just around that time, I accidentally got a hold of a PETA pamphlet at a punk rock show talking about how meat is murder and things with slaughterhouses. And I was like, my 18-year-old brain, I was like, did I accidentally do something awesome? Like I had done this kind of like snarkily, and here it could actually be something great. So I had to get like probably had to read a book. It's not like nowadays where you could just do a search on your phone because there were no handheld devices at that point. Uh, and then I was like, whoa, this is something I'm doing now. So I was vegetarian. I didn't know any vegans, and I hadn't even heard the word. And that probably lasted about 4, 5, 6 months. And I got a hold of yet another PETA. Sorry, it looked like we dropped for a second. Another punk rock show, and it talked about the connection between the slaughter industry and the dairy industry. And I had like an epiphany at then 19 years old that if the dairy industry and the slaughter industry are linked, it's like eating a cheese sandwich is basically the same thing as a cheeseburger. And I was like, well, it really comes down to this. How much animal cruelty am I okay with? And if the answer is 0, then I have to be this new word I just learned, vegan. And as you would guess, my parents nor anyone I knew at the time thought that was a good idea. No one thought it was cool for sure. But I went vegan, and the rest is history. And then kind of through the underground, I heard maybe 2 or 3 years later of a band called Earth Crisis that was basically championing all of our ideals, talking about animal liberation in like 1993, 1994. And it really emboldened me to speak up for the animals and say what I thought would make the world a better place. And it's just incredible how that small movement just blossomed.
Let me get you real quick, Bill. If you can check your camera icon and see if you can flick that back on, because we're not getting video on you right now.
Oh.
And while you're doing that, I'll tell a little story that's like, it's funny how the universe kind of, at least for me, it feels like I get these little
How's that
little
now?
hints.
I can see me recording.
I don't see you right now.
Would you want to leave and rejoin? Hopefully that will fix it.
Yeah, try refreshing, sure. And we'll hop it back in. You just want to make note, Alex, about 8:30, 8 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh, sorry, Don. Dang, still blacked out. It's so weird.
Is that better?
Still blacked out for some reason. Y'all want to move over to Zoom?
I can see all three of us.
That's so weird.
What is your camera input? Is it connected to the correct camera?
I don't know. I can send you a screenshot of this. I mean, everything.
Yeah, if you click the camera icon at the bottom, the second from the left, does it have the correct hookup there? Is it either your local camera or a plugged-in webcam? Camera?
I think he's just on his phone.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
got him. All right, so we'll edit that. But what I was gonna say is it's interesting to me how like certain things happen in the universe, or at least that's how I choose to interpret it. Yesterday I was at the gym talking to 2 kids, and funny enough, we got you coming on the podcast, and they were like asking me about lifting, and then I was like, well, like 3 minutes in, I was like, I'm vegan, and it's all over me. It's on my clothes, on my head, but they hadn't seen it. They're like, dude, no way. We actually just gave up meat on Fridays for Lent, so like we vegan on Fridays, and I'm like, So funny you say that, Bill. And then I told him to go eat at Frenchman Street Food here in Gainesville, Florida. And the owner of
Wait,
Frenchman
you're in
Street Food,
Gainesville?
yep,
I lived there for a year and a half. There was a half vegan ice cream shop and a whole bunch of stuff. And in the
yeah,
2010s,
I was here. I was in like my first year of college
wow,
or last year of high school. Yeah, last like actually those are kind of the same. I dual enrolled my last year of high school. So yeah, like we could have potentially bumped into one another. Karma Cream, they're actually fully vegan on the ice cream now.
really?
For some reason, they carry whole milk for people that want milk in their coffee. I don't get it. Everything else is vegan, all the bakery, everything else. But I told these guys to go to Frenchman Street Food, and the owner of that is super into punk rock, and that I think might have been part of either his community or what helped him wake up to veganism. And then also for me, like not just talk about myself, but it's interesting to see the stories. Like I had a friend that helped me go vegetarian, helped me wake up. She exposed me and basically said, if you keep eating hamburgers, you're killing a cow. And I was like, that actually makes sense. It took me a few months for it to click, but it made sense. And then a PETA magazine helped me realize every dairy cow dies just like a meat cow. Like every
Yep.
dairy cow ends up turned into a hamburger. They don't go like, what do you think happens to them after they live their life? If you're a vegetarian and you think about it, if you went vegetarian for the animals, like those dairy cows don't get a happy life once they're done making milk. And I would argue they don't have a happy life while they're being forced to make milk and have their babies taken from them. So
No.
interesting that we had some intersectionality there. Also, you mentioned 1992. That was the year I was born. So you've been
Oh
doing
wow.
this. Like it feels like I've done it for a long time because I went vegan in like '05, but you've been on this journey yourself for a very long time. So you've probably seen a lot of things. Like you said, the movement has changed in that time or taken off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so awesome to see this, what I would say, social justice movement blossom, and to be there. I mean, I wouldn't say at the beginning, because I mean, well, the term vegan was coined in 1950, I believe. So I wasn't alive, and my parents would have been kids at that point. And you could argue there were hippies in the 60s and 70s who were vegan. They just didn't have the, probably didn't even say the word then. But pretty much, I mean, I went vegan pre-internet, and then just as the internet kicked off. Um, so yeah, it's just been awesome to see it go from like basically shitty falafel to now where Beyond and Impossible are at. It's just great.
it's it's become better for us as consumers. Um, I also think culturally and community based things for vegans is also growing. I mean, I can't imagine like back in the 90s, early 2000s, I bet you very rarely like found any other vegans. I mean, especially before social media. Like, did you have any vegan friends or connections back then without
So
social media?
that's kind of a punk rock advantage. And for the longest time, it was really only two types of people who, which you guys are probably neither, would be vegans. It was punk rock kids and hippies, and that was it. I never, and it wasn't until I came to California where I met the third group, yoga hippies, who are like this. They're kind of like more like yoga people than they are hippie, but there's still a little bit of hippie speak in there. And they're, don't know any of the bands or any of the influence that I would have felt as a punk rock kid. No, I knew a lot of, I would say I knew a lot of vegans by maybe later in college, but they were all vegan straight edge kids. And that's like a very subculture in a subculture in a subculture. And it's very easy for us to find each other because I mean, we